What's good, everyone? Jumping on here. You guys see the title of the live stream. Go ahead and jump right into it. Mingus Allen was good, man. First one in the chat. Williams was good. Good to see you. Ron Robinson was good. Shoot. Always good to see you. Make sure you guys get those like buttons up as we get ready to kickstart this topic. So hopefully you guys have seen my most recent video that I put out about the Manny Pacquiao Errol Spence breakdown. I did something a little bit different, and I told you guys that I got a lot of tricks in my bag that I can pull out and have a lot of fun with this boxing shit, man. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's on my channel. Make sure you run over there and go check it out. But nonetheless, we got some more news. As always, there's always something going on with Tyson Fury and Deontay WIlder, and now Joshua's in the mix. Even though Joshua and Tyson both have fights coming up, but now the narrative is continuing to be pushed to make this Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight. I find it quite ironic. Yeah, they're trying to sell the narrative that we're just sick and tired of talking and promoting this Deontay WIlder and the Tyson Fury trilogy fight. They can't wait for it to be over. I really feel that. I really do feel that energy. And since basically they've been talking about Tyson Fury and Joshua, that's always been the talk of the town. That's what people really want to see. That's what they're trying to make it seem. But of course, over here on Divine Sense Boxing and other channels out here, you know, we want to see that trilogy fight. We want to see that trilogy fight. We've earned to see that trilogy fight. You know, we've been put through the ringer to go and witness retribution. But you know, they don't want to give Wilder any credit. They don't want to give the trilogy any credit. They're upset. They're disappointed that they couldn't get this big mega money fight between Tyson and Joshua. And, you know, they don't care if we have to be the ones to be sacrificed for their amusement, then I guess that's what it is. But what I want to do first is just share an article. What I always like to do is share an article with you guys. There's several articles out there. I'm sure you guys have probably heard from other channels already. But nonetheless, I want to share something that I came across, and it's straight from the horse's mouth here in Sky Sports. You know, Sky Sports is from the UK. They've been the ones trying to promote this Joshua and Fury fight probably harder than anyone. And it just never stops, does it? It's just never, the shock value never stops when it comes to Tyson Fury. It's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. It's like you just know some bullshit's about to happen, and you just have to brace for it. All right, so we got this article up now. This is from Sky Sports. All right, just so you guys can see that. Let's just walk through it real quick. Like I said, I'm sure you guys have heard about it already, but I just want to basically do my do my work here so people don't think that I'm just pulling shit out of my ass because, I get accused of that all the time. So the title of the article says Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury will finally fight in 2022, says Bob Arum. My hope is that the fight goes to the UK. Both fighters owe the UK fans this tremendous event at Wembley or Cardiff rather than taking it to a foreign country, says Tyson Fury's US-based promoter Bob Arum on the dream fight against Anthony Joshua. Now, I don't particularly have a problem with Joshua and Fury fighting. I mean, people have been clamoring for that for a very long time. But the journalism here in linguistics are always entertaining, especially from Sky Sports. They say, like, you know, this tremendous event at Wembley and Bob Arum, the dream fight against Joshua. It's always entertaining to me. The article goes on to say Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury remains an easy fight to make for the next year and could be rearranged to take place in the UK, says promoter Bob Arum. Joshua will next defend his IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight titles against Usyk live on Sky Sports box office on September 25th, before Fury meets Deontay Wilder in a WBC title fight on October 9th. Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, told Talk Sport this week February is realistic to finally stage the undisputed championship mega fight that dramatically fell apart this summer. See, we go back to journalism again. To finally stage the undisputed championship mega fight. For me, I just feel like it gets to the point where the disrespect towards Deontay Wilder is just absolutely astounding at this point. I don't see how you could not say that. And I get it. Like I said, I understand that this is something that they've wanted to do, wanted to make, and and it's not necessarily a knock on Anthony Joshua, to be honest, because he's been wanting to fight Fury. He probably wants to shut Fury up just as badly as Wilder does, to be honest with you. But for me, it's just a situation where, first off, Joshua's got to get past Usyk, obviously, right? Common sense tells you that. And then, of course, Fury's got to get past Wilder. So all this undisputed stuff doesn't really matter until both of these dudes win their fights, right? So that's why I have issue with this journalism bullshit. So, of course, the question is, and it's titled in the live stream here, is, well, what happens if Wilder finishes this trilogy once and for all and puts Fury on his backside for good? What's going to happen then? Are we going to give Wilder credit? We, as in the media, the people that have been discrediting Wilder since basically the end of the first fight. If Joshua wins and Wilder wins, why can't we be talking about the possibility of that fight? It's not Wilder's fault that you guys have been promoting the Joshua Fury fight for so long and discrediting him. If he goes in, wins the trilogy in grand fashion, reclaims the WBC, then why wouldn't you make a fight with Joshua to officially find the undisputed heavyweight champion? And they're already saying we want to make the undisputed. What did they say? I highlighted it. Did I already move it? They already did. But they already said, they're already talking as if Tyson's going to win this fight. Like, for them, they're so confident that Tyson Fury is going to win this fight that they're already talking about undisputed. The undisputed title fight is going to be between Joshua and Fury. So, yeah, I find that interesting. it's a question that I have to ask. If Wilder wins, especially if he wins in grand fashion, which I expect him to do so, will Wilder get his credit? Because then he will reclaim the WBC belt. And if Joshua gets past Usyk, which I think, well, I wouldn't say I won't say I think he will. He should. He should. Then that fight makes sense. That fight is for history, right? And Tyson has to go back down the pecking order and go and fight somebody else to regain the interest of, in my opinion, diehard boxing fans, especially if you get knocked the fuck out. Could you imagine that? All of this shit that's been going on the past 3 or 4 months. All of this, oh, Wilder ain't shit. I'm going to run him over. It's going to be easy. It's going to be easier than the second fight. Oh, I got COVID. Oh, too bad. He's got to wait a little bit longer. The result's going to be the same regardless. All of this shit that has happened in the past 2 months or so, especially this past month, and then he goes in there and gets knocked out. Nah, this man got to go back. Hey, back of the line, Tyson. Back of the line. You got to wait now. All that shit you've been talking. So just scrolling through the chat here, guys. You guys know, man. If you guys know the drill. If you have a comment that you would really want me to read, or you have a question that you would like me to answer, we got the super chats always popping. Or if you just simply want to show some love, it's always appreciated. Also, just real quick, now that I have a little bit of, well, a lot of the diehard subscribers of Divine Sense Boxing, which I do appreciate you so much. Just want to kind of give you guys a heads up. Finally got cleared to have the memberships on the channel. I'll make an official video of it. I don't want to bore you guys with it in this one, but it is up and running. I got 2 tiers. One that's only like $3, give you access to some perks, and I got one where it's $10, and you guys get access to a lot of exclusive behind the scene videos, which I will not upload publicly here on YouTube. So it's there if you want to continue to support the channel and be involved. I'm also releasing a private chat line, so you guys will have constant contact with me 24/7, which is cool for me because you guys may hear some stuff that catches your eye that I may not see, or I might be a little bit slow on because I'm on the other side of the world. But nonetheless, guys, that's up there and running. So consider it. Check it out. Nicholas Long, what's good, man? Good to see you back in the chat. Oh, Plat Boy, bro, what's good, man? I haven't seen you. My boy out here working. My boy Plat Boy out here working, man. He's been missing Divine Sense Live. What's good? Dave, what's good? Good to see you, man. Tim, Nick, what's good? Tim Nick says, yeah, Hearn plus Joshua want Fury, but not Wilder because they know that Wilder is the boogeyman, not Fury. Nap Artist, what's good, man? Always good to see you. When Wilder knocks out Fury and puts him out of his misery, AJ will have nowhere to run. And if he does, or let his promoter hide away from Wilder, AJ's career will be in jeopardy. Facts. Yeah, so I just read an article for those of you guys just jumping into the live stream here. I'll go ahead and just browse through it real quick, just for the ones jumping in. If you don't know, this is what has come out. I think it was probably yesterday or maybe this morning. Actually, it says right here, July 28th. So this morning, I'm guessing. All right, so Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury will finally fight in 2022, Bob Arum. My hope is that they'll go to the UK. I want you guys to pay attention to, the journalism here, where they say when they use certain words that indicate that they don't give a shit about Wilder whatsoever. It's all about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Always has been and probably always will be until Fury gets knocked the fuck out, or if Joshua surprisingly loses to Usyk. But right now, they don't give a shit about Wilder whatsoever. So they use language like both fighters owe the UK fans this tremendous event at Wembley. It's a dream fight. See, you guys got to pay attention to these words, man, and how they say shit. They say down here it's an easy fight to make. These are the things that I look for. And obviously this is Sky Sports, so I'm not really surprised. But just wanted to point it out. And there's a lot of other articles and websites that are speaking the same language. My hope is that the fight goes to the UK. He said, I don't care what the money is. Lying ass. Both fighters owe the UK fans this tremendous event at Wembley or Cardiff rather than taking it to a foreign country. Bob Arum says, quote, my position is if Fury and Joshua win, screw any mandatories. I mean, that's fine. But basically, if is the main word there, which I conveniently highlighted. All right, excuse me. I had to step away for a moment. Motherfuckers out here trying to mow the goddamn grass when I'm on live. God damn. Too early for that shit. All right. Plat boy, thanks for the super chat, bro. I always appreciate you, and that's why I had to give you that big shout out, man. Once you came into the chat, he says Wilder by 10th round KO. Yeah, I'm pretty much on that same wavelength. This is the thing, like either they're just scared shitless that Fury might actually lose, which makes sense because they pushed the fight back because he had COVID, he didn't have COVID, he got vaccinated, he didn't get vaccinated, all that shit, right? So they're either scared shitless that Fury is going to lose, that they don't want to jinx it. They don't want to talk about Wilder anymore. They don't want to talk about this trilogy fight anymore. So they're scared shitless that, they're knocking on wood. They don't want to jinx anything, so they refuse to talk about it. Or they just simply don't give a fuck. And they're just like, you know what, man, we're sick of this shit. We just want to get this fight over with. Fury's going to win this fight easy. There's no need to promote it. It's already promoted. It's already out there. But hold up. Weren't you guys saying that the tickets weren't selling? I'm confused. You guys are acting like the arena sold out. Pay-per-view was blowing up. You guys act like the whole fight is just sealed and delivered. Everything's great the way you guys are talking. But it wasn't it you guys that said, the fight was struggling to make money. That's the real reason why we had to push it back. I'm confused. But again, the main question is for the chat is if Wilder knocks out Tyson Fury, does he deserve to fight Joshua over Fury if Joshua gets past Usyk? That's my question. If you ask me, it's a no-brainer. Wilder reclaims the WBC, and Joshua retains his titles, and then you have a unification fight to find out who is indeed the undisputed heavyweight champion. Period, point blank. It doesn't get much simpler than that. I don't give a shit about a mega fight in the UK and all that. Look, if they were smarter, they wouldn't have done this trilogy fight with Wilder, meaning they wouldn't have put a mandatory third fight in the contract, would they? They would have figured out a way, to operate more intelligently. But now they put themselves in a very difficult position because the truth is the likelihood of Fury getting knocked out is very high. Very high. Felix, what's good, man? Appreciate you stopping by as always. I appreciate your comment on my last video, man. If you guys don't know, I just released a video earlier today. Pacquiao Spence. I did a thorough breakdown on vid. I worked through some techniques on how I see the fight might play out, offering something a little bit different. But I told you guys, man, like I said, I have a lot of tricks in the bag, tricks up my sleeve on how I like to break down fights and give people different insights and whatnot. So if you haven't go and check that out, swing by, check it out, give it a like. Pacquiao fans are a little bit upset, but, I guess I get used to ruffling feathers. King of Kings boxing. It's not about deserve. AJ just won't take the fight, especially if he see Fury get punished. Platt Boy with another super chat. Fury Wilder 3 will break heavyweight live gates and pay-per-views again. More than likely. More than likely. They don't want to admit that, though. They don't want to admit it, though. Nicholas, good point by Nicholas here. We forget. I mean, I forgot too. Shit. Fury can't fight in the UK. I forgot about that. Yeah, they didn't mention that in the article, did they? They didn't mention that, which is the whole reason why they try to go to Saudi Arabia. Which obviously, if the fight does happen, that's probably where it will go. Dr. Hook says AJ is the pick of the litter in the UK. Fury is only relevant when mentioned in the same breath as Wilder. I mean, I just find it ironic, man, that you have a much anticipated, they don't want to admit it, but a much anticipated trilogy fight with Tyson and Deontay, and instead they want to continue to pump out this Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua mega fight between the UK and this and that. But look, man, Joshua's got to fight Usyk. That's not going to be an easy task, in my opinion. He should be able to get it done, but he's going to have to prove. He's going to have to prove it, right? And then Fury's got to close the show with Wilder. And so it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know that boxing politics, they pull this bullshit all the time, but it's kind of ironic how it seems to be more than ever against one single man in Deontay Wilder than I've ever really seen it before. I mean, there was a time where we were sitting up on here talking about, Mayweather and Pacquiao for years, and Mayweather is always the guy who is trying to make it difficult. Mayweather's the guy that doesn't want to fight because he wants to do the random drug testing, and the negative light was constantly on Mayweather. We remember that shit, right? So it's basically not since then where a fighter has been put in the negative spotlight so much, but Wilder, it's a whole nother level with Wilder, though. It's a whole nother level. So Rebel Boxing says, Wilder now going to have an easy fight because he trained hard and has revenge on his mind. Of course, Fury's size, speed, boxing abilities, and the fact he smashed Wilder in the second fight. So Rebel, you got Fury in the third fight? Just I want to make that clear because I don't want to assume. If I continue to read your comments here, I want to make sure where you stand. So Rebel, you got Fury in the third fight, right? King of Kings said the biggest fight in UK history in the middle of East is laughable. Facts. At least Wilder and AJ will be in London. Facts. And you see, that's my opinion. That's where I stand. That's what makes most sense to me. Is that Wilder gets past Fury, Joshua gets past Usyk. These two men hold all the titles. You do a big fight in London. I don't think Wilder will have an issue going to London. Why not? And to be fair, Joshua has three of the titles at least, right? He's got WBA, WBO, IBF, or something like that. So he's got more of the titles. Go to London, sell it. It'll sell out regardless, especially if Wilder knocks out Fury. You're going to get a mixture of people that were happy that Wilder knocked him the fuck out, and then you'll get a mixture of people that want Joshua to get revenge on Wilder, or get revenge for Fury, I guess, because their boy got knocked out. So easy fight to sell, easy fight to market. That's what makes sense to me. None of this, Fury gets knocked out by Wilder. Okay, great. The trilogy's over now. Now Wilder, go sit down and wait. Maybe go fight Dillian White or something like that, or I don't know what they'll try to do with Wilder after he knocks out Fury. But it's okay. Fury got knocked the fuck out after all that shit he talked for so long. And we're going to go ahead and match him up with Joshua in the Middle East. How does that make sense? That don't make no damn sense. But I feel like they're already trying to put their ducks in a row and basically making a fight happen behind the scenes without there really being, well, obviously no victories on either side to really make it, but they're already starting to plan it as if easy fight for Joshua, easy fight for Fury. I don't know, man. It just seems a bit odd. Dr. Hook says, I trust Blue Blood's take on ticket sales because I know he has the inside track with Wilder Camp and others. Yeah, I heard that video. Yeah, just the it's crazy. Wilder got a fight on his hands. Like, let's be honest here. I mean, Fury's a problem for anybody. He's a problem for anybody at any time, anywhere, just given his physical attributes and his boxing skill. I mean, I don't want to discredit Fury. I've never discredited Fury. I just want to put that out there, make it clear. I think I've said this several times. I feel like I'm a broken record because I guess I talk about Wilder so much, and I want Wilder to get his just due. I want Wilder to have a fair chance at revenge. I want Wilder to be able to have peace. He deserves that. So because I talk about Wilder, people assume that I don't think shit of Fury. I've never said that. I've never insinuated that. I've come on here several times and saying Fury is a problem for anybody. Just given his sheer size, And his ability to move the way he does at his size is a problem for anybody in the heavyweight division. So is it a fight on his hands, as Soul Rebel Boxing pointing out? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is why Wilder is taking it serious, obviously. When you take a loss the way you took a loss in the second fight, especially a man like Deontay Wilder, a man of pride, a man of honor, in my opinion, you ain't gonna bullshit around. You're gonna take this shit seriously. And that's why he's been training for this fight since like March of this year. And then he turned it up because he thought he was going to have a fight on July 24th, which didn't happen. So obviously he knows it's going to be a fight. He knows it's a challenge. He knows it ain't easy. And that's why he's training the way that he's training. That's why he makes the moves that he makes in his camp. He brings in Malik Scott and he puts certain videos out there for people to see and surmise on his upgrades and his new sharpened tools and skill set that he's now trying to establish. So he knows that. Real boxing fans know that Tyson Fury is always a challenge. But with all that being said, as I said many times before, the storm is coming. The clouds are black. The wind is blowing in the storm, and the lightning is striking. That's the way the world works. That's the way the world rotates. And I promise you, come October, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And one thing I want to add is another factor, despite all of that stuff I just said about Wilder improving himself and preparing, retribution, the way the world revolves and how it works, what goes around comes around type of shit. Another added factor to that on why I think Wilder's going to win is because I think Fury is overconfident. He truly believes that he's going to be able to come in the third fight the way he came in the second fight, as if Wilder can't make adjustments or Wilder won't make adjustments, or it doesn't matter if Wilder tries to make adjustments, it's not going to matter. He feels like he's going to go in there, bully him, maul him, and beat him up. He said that multiple times, and I believe that he truly believes that, but that's going to be a mistake. There ain't no way on this green earth that Wilder's going to repeat the same mistakes he did in the second fight. There ain't no way. You can't convince me. You can't. Like, don't even attempt it. He ain't going to make the same mistakes. So, in my mind, if I'm Fury and I'm seeing how Wilder's been training, you better go back to how you fought the first fight. You better go back the way you fought the first fight, real talk, because Wilder's ready. Wilder thinks that you're going to come and try to bully him. So he's going to be ready to box. He's going to be ready to counterpunch. He's going to be ready to go to the body. You have a better chance fighting Wilder like you fought Klitschko. Real talk. But I don't see that happening, man, because Fury's too confident. That's just my opinion. And this idea that, oh, Wilder's just a one trick pony, all he has is power. Look, man, I don't got time for that bullshit. That's not hardcore boxing fan talk. That's some casual shit. Okay, if I want to conversate with casual fans, I'll go down to the mall down here and find some random ass people who loosely watch boxing, and I'll have a conversation with them. Otherwise, on Divine Sense Boxing, we talk that real shit over here. So don't come at me with this, all he got is power. He's always got a puncher chance. Man, I'm sorry. That's not real boxing talk, in my opinion. If you give a man who's a bronze medalist, okay, and has accomplished what he has accomplished as a professional, at one point in time, he had a 100% KO ratio. Probably 85 to 90% of those KOs came in within the first 3 rounds. I'm sorry. You need more than just one punch to be able to accomplish that. You need skills to land a knockout punch. You need determination. You need courage. You need, quite frankly, you need defense. I mean, Deontay Wilder, he's human, right? If he don't have no skill and all he does is try to knock people out, he probably at some point would have got knocked out himself. So, is he the most technical? Does he have the best boxing skills in the heavyweight division? No, he doesn't. He doesn't need to, though, because when you got power like that, you don't need to be the best boxer. But he's an athlete, and he can do a lot more than what people give him credit for. Of course, he has a fight on his hands. That's why this fight is so exciting. It's just Wilder's power is devastating. This is just more time for Wilder to polish these new skills in training. Yep. Stacy Rubin, what's good, man? Wilder in 6 will catch Fury with the left hook to the body. Then that will surprise Fury. Wilder will pivot and drop that beautiful straight right hand. Look at the training vids. I mean, I've been studying it, Stacy, man. Like, I'm with you. I don't know if it'll be 6, but he will definitely go to the body. He will definitely pivot, slide, move, use his feet, force Fury to see a different Wilder, force Fury to see a Wilder that he wouldn't expect, who he thought would never come to fruition. Wilder got surprised in the second fight, and Wilder's going to return the favor in the third fight. And see, I was talking to somebody a couple days ago about this, and he's a huge Fury fan. And he was laughing at me. I was telling him, yo, Wilder's going to go to the body, man. He's never went to the body in either 2 fights. He doesn't really go to the body in general anyway. He's a headhunter. So fighters aren't really going to prepare for a possible body attack. But that's the thing. Malik Scott, right? He's an all-around boxer. If you ever seen Malik Scott, he jabs to the midsection, comes up to the top. He throws body shots on the inside. Malik is a well-rounded fighter, and he's going to be bringing in those attributes and skills into Wilder's camp, which he's already, what he's been doing the past 3 or 4 months. But this guy I was talking to was laughing. He's like, man, going to the body to Fury don't mean shit. Fury's too big. He's got all that body fat. So it's just basically like hitting a rubber tire. He's just too big. He just comes at you. But that's the thing, right? Especially with heavyweights, when a heavyweight jabs to the midsection, first off, it's a rangefinder, okay? Because heavyweights are so fucking big that it's pretty much impossible to miss the body, right? So a lot of times the jab to the midsection is a rangefinder, number 1, and number 2, it's a scoring punch, right? Hate it or love it, anytime you land a jab to the pit of the stomach or to the sternum, that's a scoring punch. But here's the thing. Wilder doesn't need to he does do that sometimes when he jabs to the chest. But what I'm saying is it's the pivot coming around and not attacking the midsection, but attacking the ribs. Go back and watch the fights, man. Fury doesn't protect his body. And a lot of heavyweights don't, because most heavyweights go to the head. Like, why wouldn't you? Because you're a heavyweight. You can knock a fellow heavyweight out with one punch to the face, right? So go back and watch Tyson Fury. He never protects the body. He's always got Either his arms are dangling or he's got his arms up, keeping his hands out to keep the distance from fighters getting too close to him. It ain't hard to land a looping left hook to the liver on Tyson Fury. It won't be that hard. And Tyson Fury won't expect it. Do I think Wilder can knock him out with one liver shot? No, but it's going to be an accumulation. What's going to happen is going into the 4th, 5th round, after Wilder is attacking that body, and even in the clinch, he's going to pound that body, right? Eventually, Fury, it's going to be a bit of a wear and tear, right? And he's going to start dropping his guard a little bit. It's only natural. And if you've ever boxed before, you know what I'm talking about. If you've been hitting the ribs enough, at some point you're going to be like, this shit getting sore. Now, Fury has the defense to protect his body and still be able to slip punches, but Wilder's got the speed, he's got the range, and he's got the power. He's going to land it eventually, especially when you can't keep your hands up the way that you normally do and bob and weave and slip and slide like he does. Now, if he does the whole, I'm going to come at you like a semi-truck type philosophy, then all it comes down to for Wilder is don't back up. Don't back up like he did in the second fight. He backed up. He allowed Fury to walk him down and put him on the ropes and just maul him. And when they got in the clinch, you get him in headlocks, hitting him behind the head, tossing him around. He's much bigger, right? So you don't go backwards. You pivot. You move, you cut off the ring. The jab keeps moving up and down, right? And if I'm if I'm Wilder, I keep that right hand cocked. I'm just working the left hand up, down, pivot out, pivot in, go to the body. And if Fury comes in to try to maul, tie up right away. Just lock his arms in, lock it in. Don't try to wrestle. Lock it in. Force the referee to break it up every single time, right? And eventually, the pivoting, the moving, the working up and down, going to the body, the timing will reveal itself to start getting that right hand in there. That's just the way that I see it. And this is something that it's hard for you to imagine because Wilder's never fought this way. But this is what I'm trying to tell you, and a lot of Deontay Wilder fans who understand boxing have been trying to tell the Tyson Fury fans. Wilder has the ability to do what I just said. We're not just hoping and dreaming here. We're not saying, man, I hope Wilder can do this because he needs to do it. I don't know if he can do it, but I hope he can. No, we know and we believe he can do it because we understand that Wilder is an athlete. You feel me? So Fury might be shocked. Fury fans might be shocked, but we ain't going to be shocked because we know that Wilder has this ability. Stacy Ruben, bro, appreciate, man, the super chat, man. Big love, big respect. I just think the longer it goes, the more it favors Fury. I think a punch to the body is really going to surprise him. I think Wilder's footwork is going to surprise a lot of people. I agree. And as far as the fight going on long, I see what you're saying. More or less, Fury's fine going 12. He's fine. When he beat Klitschko, went 12. I mean, a lot of his big fights have went 12 rounds. And so he doesn't. It's weird how Fury, right? He's so big. You would think that he would get tired, but he's actually pretty good at pacing himself. He conserves energy, and a part of being able to conserve energy as a big man like Fury was actually with his punch output. Not that he doesn't punch enough, but he doesn't punch that hard. Right? He's got a flicking jab, and his right hand is just not high caliber, right? And his left hook is kind of flicking as well, right? So you conserve a lot of energy if you're not a hard puncher. Right? When you're hard punchers get burned out quickly, more quickly, especially heavyweights, because they're just putting so much energy behind shots. So my question is then, Fury has been promoting the idea that he's working with Crunk Boxing and he's learning how to punch properly. I just read an article about it a couple days ago where Fury was saying, "Yeah, I'm learning how to punch better. I'm learning how to punch harder. You know, they're teaching me better punching technique and all this other shit." Which, okay, cool, because obviously you're training to knock out Wilder. That's literally what Fury's doing now. Fury said, "Fuck the first fight. I try to box, whatever. It's more or less going to be the second fight, but I'm actually going to try and knock Wilder out. I don't want the ref to stop it. I don't want the towel to be thrown in. I want to knock Wilder out." That's what Fury's training for, literally. So I'm curious. You've been doing your whole career with this conservative punches, flicking jab, flicking left hook, a right hand that doesn't have that much velocity. I mean, it has speed, it can hit its target, but not a lot of power. As a heavyweight, you're able to conserve energy if you are naturally not a big puncher. Now all of a sudden, you're trying to reconstruct your whole punching pattern and strategy and try to put your whole body weight into punches, which is where power comes from, right? Anybody who knows boxing knows that. It comes from your body weight. You're putting your body behind punches. So you're putting your body behind punches and you're training this way. So my question is if you change those mechanics, will Fury get tired? And it'll be easy to figure it out because Fury, if he gets tired, he's going to start holding on. He's going to try to wrestle. He's going to he might come out early, first 3 rounds, and just show us his quote unquote new punching technique, quote unquote new punching power. And he might try to exhibit it and show people, right? And if it doesn't work after 3 or 4 rounds, and Wilder's displaying new skills, moving, jabbing up and down, going to the body, pivoting in and out, being defensively sound, not allowing Fury to wrestle and headlock him and do the things that he did in the second fight, the tide of the fight will change. There's no way that Fury will be able to keep up that type of punch output for 12 rounds compared to how he has traditionally fought 12 rounds, which is being very methodical and conservative with his punching power and whatnot. So that's another way that I view it. Soul Rebel says Wilder has a history of being right hand hungry. There's a better argument to suggest Wilder has been the same for a long time, not the other way around. But you see, this is the thing, Soul Rebel, is that's the sentiment that has basically been stated by Fury fans, is that it doesn't matter what Wilder trains. It doesn't matter what he does. Malik Scott is irrelevant. Even Fury himself said this. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when shit gets tough, Wilder's going to go back to what he does, and that is be a basic right-handed power puncher. We'll say devastating right-hand power puncher, whatever. That's what they truly believe. That's what they're telling the media. That's what they're telling the boxing fans. And obviously some people are believing it, obviously yourself. But like I just said, Wilder is an athlete. I don't know how other ways I can emphasize that. I don't know how else I can break that down. But Wilder is an athlete. When you tell me, look, Divine, at the end of the day, all Deontay has is a right hand. I can't accept it. I can't accept it, bro. Because Wilder is an athlete. Wilder could have literally played any sport he wanted to. He chose boxing. In a way, you can say boxing chose him because he wanted a quick way to support his family and obviously his daughter. But at the end of the day, he could have played any sport he wanted to. That makes him a pure athlete. Could Fury play fucking rugby? Probably not. Could Fury play basketball? Probably not. Fury is born into boxing. There's nothing else he could have done but box. And that's not a knock on him. You know, that's why he is where he is today, because it's in his bloodline. And that's all he knows, and that's what he'll always be. But when you're a pure natural athlete, it means that you can adapt, you can learn things quickly, and you don't necessarily need to have 30 years of boxing to do that. And so when people say all Wilder has is a right hand, it's just hard, bro. It's just hard for me to accept that, because how the fuck do you become a heavyweight champion of the world and a bronze medalist in the Olympics when all you got is a right hand? All you got is that one shot. You know, I understand why people can think that because of how he's knocked people out. But has he really been that outclassed in fights and has only been saved by the right hand? Like, let's talk about it. Has he really been so outclassed in fights, but because he has that right hand, it has saved him up until the point where he became a heavyweight champion, undefeated at one point before he lost to to Fury? So can you get as far as you can, but only being a right-handed fighter, a one punch? What does Fury say? A one trick pony, or something like that. He's got his little fucking slogan. But has he ever been completely outclassed in a fight, and then suddenly, boom, he lands the right hand? Oh, he wins the fight. No, you can say that in the Ortiz fight, even both fights, you can argue that Ortiz was slightly outboxing Wilder. Ortiz was doing well in the fight, but you can't say he was totally outclassing Wilder, because Wilder's a constant threat, constantly a threat, and people respect his power. So it's not like he has no boxing skill and he's getting beat up and getting outclassed, and all of a sudden, boom, he lands a right hand. Oh, Wilder wins again. You see what I'm saying? Wilder has skill that he's not getting credit for. And he's not getting credit for it because people only see what they want to see. Let me say that again. People see what they want to see. And all they see is the power. But they don't see the other details. Solo, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping by. Not sure if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, consider subscribing and stay a part of the conversation. And if you are subscribed, well, I appreciate you, bro, for stopping by. The Diesel was good. One of my old-time subscribers back in the chat says, if Wilder only had a right hand, then Ortiz would have went to Wilder's left all the time in both fights. Big facts. Tim Green, I'm still lost on the fact Fury has overnight power. That's a good question, Tim, because why is it okay or why is it acceptable that Fury can learn power overnight, but it's not acceptable for Wilder to improve certain skills in boxing? So once again, it's a pure bias. People are literally saying, yo, there's no way that Wilder can learn skills at 35 to beat Fury. But then the same people say, "Oh yeah, Fury he's going to learn how to punch harder. He's going to knock Wilder out. He's going to come with improved punching technique. He's going to come in with improved power." Can somebody explain to me? See, this is the type of shit that I talk about. See, people get upset. People get upset at Wilder fans. They say Wilder fans are delusional. Wilder fans are making up this fantasy because they want Wilder to win so badly. They're so upset that Wilder lost so embarrassingly in the second fight. So they create this fantasy that Wilder is going to come out and do something different. That's the only thing that you have to stand on if you're a Fury fan. The only thing that you have to stand on is the result of the second fight. That's literally the only thing you have. Because other than that, you don't got shit. You really don't. Because in the first fight, his ass was laying on his backside in the 12th round with his eyes rolled back in his head. And if it wasn't for Zeus Almighty himself for striking his ass with a lightning bolt, his ass would have been sleeping. Probably still today. He'd be sleeping. So the only thing that you have is the result of the second fight. So after the result of the second fight, why is it okay that Fury can continue to improve, and instead of having a towel thrown in, which in my opinion is controversial, I'm not talking about spike water, none of that shit. I'm saying the way Mark Breland threw in the towel is suspicious to me personally. So we're not talking about a towel being thrown in. Okay, Fury's talking about knocking Wilder out in, what did he say? Less than 5? Something like that. So why is it okay for Fury to suddenly just display amazing punching power to stop Wilder, who's never been knocked out, by the way? Wilder's never been knocked out. But it's not okay for Wilder to develop and sharpen up tools and weapons to beat Fury convincingly. Because we know Fury can be knocked out. His ass has been knocked down already by Wilder. And we know what Wilder can do. Stacy Rubin says, "Oh, as for Fury versus AJ, if Wilder wins and AJ wins, why would he fight Fury? Nah, unification, undisputed, would be the route AJ would want to go. AJ isn't afraid from what I've seen." Yeah, I agree. We kind of went off and talked about the Fury Wilder fight a little bit, but the whole purpose of this live stream was if, in fact, Fury loses to Wilder and Joshua beats Usyk, the history books should be written accordingly, and boxing fans shouldn't be sabotaged by the politics of boxing, and we should be witnesses of a unification match for the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. None of this Fury gets knocked the fuck out, and then, oh, thanks for that, Wilder, go over there and sit on the sidelines again, and we're going to go and watch Fury and Joshua, even though Fury just got knocked the fuck out. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. So the fact that they're already starting to promote this fight, which is supposedly going to be in February, is disrespectful to Wilder. How could it not be? Solo says there's a good chance Wilder will destroy Fury in the third fight. Absolutely good chance. Absolutely. Look at the behavior of Fury. Yep, I see it. Solo says, I'm sub. I appreciate that. Good Lord. Those times were intense. Oh, you're talking about Mayweather Pacquiao. Oh, yeah, it was. For sure. Tim Green says, because it could buy power, Floyd Mayweather would have really killed people in the ring. Yeah, I mean, imagine if Mayweather was able to keep his hands healthy and maintain the power moving up to welterweight, like how he was knocking people out, when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, people would have a whole different opinion of Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he's still technically 50-0, but imagine if he would have continued to knock people out. There really wouldn't be any debate. I watch boxing like a maniac. I'm the only one on here who is not following this narrative, guy. All good. We'll see. Well, I mean, you're still in the chat, bro. I allow you to state your opinion. It's not like I'm upset with you. I mean, if you believe Fury's going to win, that's fine. So Team Fury says that Tyson can develop a new style, but Wilder can't. The hate is almost unbearable as the weight. Yep, facts. Jalen Alexander says the bottom line is Wilder is a freakish athlete. He can do things that other people can't. So that allowed him to get away with a lot of stuff. That doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to learn. Big facts. Hoplo type, what's good, man? Thanks for coming back into the chat. Always good to see you, as you know. King of Kings says exactly. A knockout by Fury would have been the worst bet you could have made before the second fight. Wilder has shown the versatility in the past. It just was a guarantee to focus landing the power. Yeah, I mean, so basically, it's like in the first fight, Wilder fought how he's always fought because he believed that all he had to do was land one punch and it's over. I mean, that's what he told Fury, was like, you got to be perfect for 12 rounds. I only got to be perfect for 1 second. And he damn near proved it. He damn near proved it. And then in the second fight, I don't know what the hell was going on with Wilder. He didn't look the same to me before the bell even rang. He stepped through the ropes and took off his costume. I was like, this guy don't look right. This is not gonna be good. I knew it right away. I'm not even fronting. I swear to you. I was watching the fight with my boys. I looked at my boys. I'm like, why does Wilder look like that? He looked like he was sick. That, like, I'm not bringing out any allegations. I'm just telling you what I saw. And then he fought terribly. And the only reason why it even lasted as long as it did was because, he's a warrior. And if he was injured or he was sick or whatever the fuck was going on, he refused to quit. And that's the type of man that Fury's dealing with right now. We got to keep in mind that this is the type of man that Fury's dealing with. Fury literally has to either knock him out or beat him up so badly that it forces the referee stoppage again. That's the only way I see Fury winning. And if Fury beats him up badly, like he did the second fight, but worse or the same or whatever, and there is another referee stoppage, I will come on here as a man and say that I was wrong. And I'll say, you know what? I thought Wilder I thought he would be able to make adjustments, and he did it. And I'll eat crow. Nicholas Long says, it makes me laugh that Fury fans say that Wilder never knocked out Fury, but Fury himself said that he woke up mid count. Oh, he was definitely knocked out. He was out. But like I said, man, Thunderbolt of Zeus. That's it. That's the only thing. It, it was a draw. If you know boxing, maybe a KO in other fights with different officials. Guarantee from what I seen in the UK, refs that. So okay. So you think that's a KO if that fight happened, if the first fight happened in the UK? That's interesting. Solo says the first fight was a KO by Wilder. It was definitely borderline. It was definitely borderline. I get the whole like slow count and stuff like that. The only thing I will say to play devil's advocate is um, I typically like Jack Reese. I think that he's very consistent, and I think he does the the 8 count the same every time. You know, if you go back and watch other fights that Jack Reese has refed, fighters get knocked down. He does the same thing every time. And I know a lot of people feel like Jack Reese saved Fury and all this stuff. For me, I ain't going that far. Um, but Fury was definitely concussed. He was definitely knocked out. And it was the grace of the gods, literally, that brought him up off that canvas. And there could have been an element of Jack Reese being surprised. I think that he thought, I'm about to count this dude out. Like, I seriously think that Jack Reese is like, oh, this is going to 10. And then when Fury rolled over onto his side at like whatever it was, 7 or 8, then he was like, okay, well, let's see if he can stand up. You know, and so I've refed fights before too. I've refed like amateur fights, and amateur fights are a little bit different because obviously the skill level is not the same. So fighters get knocked down all the time in amateur fights, right? So you know, I referee very similar to like a Jack Reese. I give fighters plenty of time. If I see that they're showing signs of life and signs of willing to continue, you know, I might give them an extra second or two, because you know I've boxed before personally, so I know if I'm hurt, you know, I I would like the referee to give me an extra second, you know, wipe my gloves off, whatever the case may be, make me walk to the corner, walk back. All right, cool. But look, man, it's a sensitive issue. A lot of people say no. You know, referees they've got to be consistent all the way. You know, it's got to be the same way. They all got to count to 10. They all got to do a standing 8 count. No extra time. Fuck that. There's a lot of people out there like that, and I get it. Um, but there's also people out there that say referees should have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to looking at a fighter or to give a fighter a chance, especially in a heavyweight mega fight, you know, like that, you know. Um, it's a tough call, but like I said, Fury escaped a knockout by the skin of his teeth. That's for damn sure. Stacy, thanks again for another super chat. I will continue to support your channel. You don't buy into the media lines and trust your eyes. Keep it up. All day, every day, bro. All day, every day. I speak from the heart. I speak from what I see. I don't get into, really both sides, to be honest with you. Like, I'm a Wilder fan, no doubt. I feel like Wilder's going to pull it off in the trilogy. I've been a Wilder fan since probably like 2012, at least. I have a video on my old channel, which I may download and re-upload so people know that I uploaded back in like 2012-ish, where I said that Deontay Wilder is the future of heavyweight boxing. I've been consistent since since day one, I've been talking about Deontay Wilder until now. And I don't get into a lot of the stuff that the Wilder fans talk about. And I don't get into any of the other shit that Fury fans talk about. I just stay in my lane, Divine Sense Boxing lane. And that's it. Hoplo says, I'm waiting to see if the fight comes off in October or not and how Fury looks before I make a prediction. And that's fair. That's fair. C. Wood, what's good, man? Good to see you back in the chat again. Wilder will make this one ultra decisive. Fury will crumble under the power. I think it'll be clear, too. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. A lot of people. If you know boxing, then you know that he was out before he even hit the ground. That fight could have reasonably been waved off. To Jalen's point here, going back to refereeing and stuff like that, I would accept that more than people saying that it was a long count. If Jack Reese would have waved it off after he saw his head bang off the canvas like that and his eyes were rolling in the back of his head for about 6-7 seconds and he called it off, I'd be like, all right, fair enough. Fair enough, because you can't dispute that. Even if Fury comes to and gets on his feet and he gets upset, like, that's a judgment call on the spot. So I'll be okay with that compared to people saying, oh, Jack Reese was doing a long count, because Jack Reese always does that. For real, always. So I guess at the end of the day, Jack Reese made a judgment call on the spot, and he said, well, let's see if Fury wakes up, and he did. And, then the fight was a draw. Solo says, I'll look into that Jack Reese history. Yeah, do it, man. Like, for real. Like, go back and watch how he's reffed other fights when fighters have been knocked down. Like, he always does that. He's actually well known for if fighters get off the canvas before the count of 10, he makes them walk. He'd be like, walk over there. All right, walk back to me. All right, clean your gloves. Time in. Like, that's how he operates, man. And every fighter gets an extra 4 to 5 seconds, but he's consistent. That's what he does. But he did get up, and that's to a fighter's credit, not a knock. Hit the like for Divine Sense if you're so inclined. Yeah, guys, every like, as I always say, goes a long way. If you guys like the content, if you appreciate the honesty, if you appreciate the non-bias, and that goes for you too, Soul Rebel Boxing, make sure you hit that like button, man. Because, like I said, it does go a long way. Hoplo says, no doubt. Several refs would have waved it off, but I think Jack made the right call. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that if it was right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how Jack refs fights. That's, when Fury got up, I was shocked just like anybody else. I was like, did he just seriously get up from, like it was literally a miracle. Literally. Even Wilder said that. I mean, it was a miracle. But not at one point I was like, man, what the fuck, Jack Reese? What are you doing? Because I've seen Jack Reese do that many times. Like, that's how he operates. El Jefe says, 2 months of waiting shake my head. For real. For real. And I'll never stop being upset that the fight was pushed back to October until October arrives and I can finally vent. But I ain't going to lie to you, man. I punched a few walls, and I'll probably punch a few more before the fight starts because I get aggravated at this shit. Salute to my fellow OG. No doubt, man. Hoplo, man, been around for a long time. Long time. So if you guys don't know, now you know. Appreciate the super chat, bro. Super chats like this. I've said it before. These super chats that come in, it's not even about like, all right, cool, I got a super chat. These super chats literally propel me to continue on and talk about the things I talk about and continue to be steadfast in my dedication to the sport and also create content with fellow channels like Drew Titan, which is coming up this Sunday. So these super chats go a long way and continues to unify and unite the boxing voice, and just grow the message. Yo, I'm not sure if it's JC or Yase. I'm not sure if you're Latino or some shit, man, but salute. I appreciate you stopping by. It's always good to see you in the chat, bro. Tim Nick says Wilder won in capital letters the first fight anyway. One judge had Wilder winning on his scorecard. That scorecard is correct. I feel you. I feel you. I will say this, going back to Tim's comment here. A lot of Fury fans say that Fury beat Wilder every round except the 2 rounds where Fury was knocked down. I don't agree with that. As a matter of fact, I believe I gave Wilder at least 2 out of the first 3 rounds. I don't remember which rounds in particular, but for me, he definitely got 2 knockdowns, obviously. And then I gave him 2 rounds early. Fury did put in some work in the middle rounds, especially after round like 5. It was Fury putting in work, and then Wilder was just constantly trying to land the right hand, just constantly tracking him down, and in the meantime, Fury's just flicking the jab, and it's just like, that's just the way I saw it. But I just don't agree with the only points that Wilder gets is the 2 knockdowns. He definitely deserves another 2 rounds, 3 rounds, possibly even 4 rounds. To be honest. El Jefe says, keep grinding. It will, in capital letters, pay off. I'm believing it, bro. I'm believing it. Some guy commented on my most recent video about the Pacquiao Spence breakdown I just dropped earlier today, and he said, Divine, don't stop grinding, bro. We need more people like you. And when I get comments like that, man, it really does spark something within me, man. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get up in the morning and it's like, all right, what kind of content should I put out? It's not easy, man. It's not easy because, believe it or not, a lot of channels like myself and many others out here, man, we get a lot of hate. We got to deal with a lot of hate, man. So like I said, you got to be steadfast in your dedication. Jack Reese said Wilder beat Fury in the first fight. For real? I didn't hear that. That's interesting. Jalen says, I don't agree with that either. The first 4 or 5 rounds of the fight, while they're on a couple of those because Tyson Fury was not punching. Yeah. I meant to say Wilder was pressing the fight for the first 4 or 5 rounds and Fury was not punching. Yeah, he was defending a lot. He was slipping and sliding, and it looks good. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing with judges, is some judges are swayed by good defensive ability. Some judges like or prefer a fighter who presses the fight, even though it's not necessarily effective aggressiveness. Every judge is a little bit different. Some judges are fucking terrible and never deserve to judge a fight. But some of the judges, you can kind of see they always judge a fight very similar. Like if you go through and look through their scorecards, the way that they see fights, if it's an aggressive fighter or a boxer or whatever it may be, some, not all, are very consistent. But like I said, some of the judges should be fucking banned from the sport. Like the judge who scored the Canelo Mayweather fight a draw should be fucking banned. I don't remember who that was, but like outrageous shit like that. That's like borderline corruption type shit. Divine, maybe fitness. You are in great shape. Uh, what do you mean maybe fitness? You mean make videos about fitness? You'd be doing something wrong if the haters weren't swarming. That's true. That's true. I wouldn't be where I am, I guess, in a lot of ways if I didn't have haters. But it does become a little bit overwhelming sometimes, when you go through the comments and I laugh at most of them. But sometimes I'm just kind of like, man, I just can't deal with these people, man. A lot of times I'm like, where do these people even come from? Like I really do believe that people literally make accounts to just like troll, and like be racist. I was watching Drew Titan the other day, and he was like highlighting comments, man, of like of people coming into his chat, like being racist and shit. And it's just like, well, I had it the other day. You guys remember? A lot of you guys were in the chat. I had it the other day. I had a ban like four people, 4 or 5 people in one fucking live stream. It gets crazy out here sometimes. Andrew says you don't know how to score a fight, Doctor Hook. Doctor Hook, Andrew's calling you out, bro. Okay, I can agree to. Yeah, cool. Doctor Hook says. Okay. I rescored the fight 2 days ago. You could have easily given Wilder rounds 1 and 2, and we know the two 10-8 rounds are just like 4 rounds. Right. Yeah, like I said, he definitely won at least 2 out of the first 3 rounds for sure, and you can possibly say all 3. It was CJ Ross, and she hasn't scored a fight since. Thank God. What an idiot. Jalen says, yeah, Drew Titan's a part of the LDBC. They get that all the time. Yeah. Hey, yo, Hoplo, are you still in the chat, bro? Hoplo, if you're still in the chat, do you still pay attention to the LDBC? Do you still get involved in that? I'm not sure if you ever did. I'm just curious. I mean, I was around when it was first created. Back when 78 first created it, and when it was first created, it was all about debates. That's what they did. So 78 would get channels to come together and debate. I was involved in a debate one time between Mayweather and Pacquiao, comparing resumes, who had a better resume, shit like that. That's what it originally was. But I've been gone for about 5 years, and now that I'm back, about a month and a half now on this new channel. I recently popped by 78 to just show a little bit of love because 78 and I go way back. I mean, before the LDBC, before any of that shit. So I went back and then I saw how much his channel has grown, and it seems like the LDBC's changed. I don't know exactly what it is, but that's how it used to be. LDBC is the Lions Den boxing community. It was created by 78 Sports TV. I think it was him and maybe a couple other people were the original creators of it. But 78 was usually the one that would host debates. Like in the beginning, he would host debates between other channels to talk about fighters and stuff. And so yeah, that's how it was. Jalen says, I watch a lot of their content, so I know 78 Blue Blood, Drew Titan, Black Fight, Fan TV. Okay, cool. Yeah. Andrew says, Wilder fans are the racist ones. Really? Well, I'll tell you this, Andrew. There are racist fans who can't accept a white man winning. Well, I'll tell you this, Andrew. I've had a lot of Fury fans come to my channel and accuse me of being a self-hating white man and accuse me for hating my own race and saying that I'm a pitiful human being because I don't go for the white man. So I would say that Fury fans are not innocent, and quite frankly, quite blatant about their racism and white supremacy, because that's basically what it is. Anytime you accuse another white man of not being biased and agreeing to his own race, that's fucking white supremacy. There's no other way to explain that shit. So I would tread softly on that accusation, Andrew. If you want to talk boxing, you're welcome. But yeah, I love Wilder, but honest enough to see the boxing issues long before the Fury fights. Wilder is exciting for the sport, but lost respect for him after the excuses. I mean, white privilege now. I can see why people got upset with Wilder when the excuses came around. I know several people as well personally. I won't name any names, but I know there are other channels out here who were supporting Wilder when the allegations came out. Then they pulled the plug. I can't support Wilder anymore. For me, man, like I just never got involved in it. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I saw a lot of the videos. I saw the glove controversy. I saw articles about the spiked water. I listened to 78 Sports interview with Deontay WIlder. That's an exclusive interview where Wilder talked more in depth about Mark Breland. I listened to it all. I know what it is, but I just never really bought into it because I'm just like, look, are they fighting again or not? That's all I want to know. Because all this shit, I just like, I don't get involved in it. Like, I don't look, man. Fighters talk all kinds of crazy shit. And Wilder's not the first one to come out and suggest things were rigged or corrupt or this happened to me. I mean, this is not new. If you've been around boxing long enough, then you know, right? But like I always said to people, is that in my opinion, in my humble opinion, Deontay WIlder didn't look right, bro. Like if you say to me, no, he looked normal to me. Shit, it's the same Deontay WIlder. He just got beat up. Then I'm sorry, but we're going to have to agree to disagree. Because I've been watching Wilder every single fight of his since 2012. And there's nothing that can convince me otherwise that he looked normal, because he fucking didn't look normal. So what I've always told people was, you can believe whatever you want to believe when it comes to the allegations. You're entitled to your beliefs. If you want to ride with that, you want to ride with Wilder, fine. But what I want to say is this, and what I've told people is, put yourself in Wilder's shoes, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just say, oh, man, this motherfucker just making excuses, man. Just take a loss. Okay, that's easy for you to say. But you got to go back and rewind the tape. And you got to really listen. Okay, don't, like, when you go and listen to an interview, like when he did his exclusive interview with 78 Sports, it's still on his channel. You can go watch it. You got to listen to the small little details that he talks about. A lot of people just go in there and listen to an interview like that with already like a bias, sorry, not a non-bias, but an actual bias that Wilder's just talking shit. But you got to approach it on a human level, right? You got to put yourself in Wilder's position, put yourself in his shoes. Wilder explicitly said that he didn't feel right. And for me, I understand that because he didn't look right. Period. So for him, it's all about trying to get an explanation, trying to come up with some type of clarity on like what happened to me. Now, I want to put this to bed real quick because a lot of people came out and said, well, he didn't look right or feel right because he said he was injured. Let me put that to bed right now. Wilder could, in fact, have been injured. But here's the thing. Fighters go into fights injured all of the time. Broken toes, broken fingers, fucked up shoulders, fucked up elbows. You know, I mean, even Mike Tyson said he broke his back. You guys remember that shit? I broke my back. Now, whether that was true or not or exaggerated, the point is that fighters go into fights injured all the time because of their rigorous training, what they put their body through, right? So an injury wouldn't have had that detrimental of an effect starting from the first fucking round. Wilder looked like shit from the first fucking round, bro. So an injury to whatever part of his body, he ain't going to look like shit that early. So it wasn't just injuries. That could have been an added effect, but it certainly wasn't just injuries because he was looking like shit before he even stepped through the ropes. Now, let me go back to my point because I had to put that to rest because I know that's always the counter argument / counter narrative. He has explicitly said on several occasions that I didn't feel right. So again, put yourself in Wilder's shoes, right? You're the heavyweight champion. And you feel like shit. And you couldn't move your legs how you normally move your legs. You couldn't punch how you normally punch. You tried to hit Fury a few times with everything that you got, and Fury just ate those punches like they weren't shit. So then it's a question of, well, is it just because Fury's now just stronger? He's got better punch resistance? Or maybe Wilder ain't punching like he used to. That's up to you to answer. But Wilder loses a devastating, or he takes a devastating loss. Put yourself in Wilder's shoes. You're in the locker room after the fight. We remember that. You guys remember the cameras going back into the locker room and Wilder was sitting on the bench or whatever it was with his head down. And I think it was his girl was like rubbing his back or whatever, trying to comfort him. We've seen champions take losses and it always hurts. But I haven't seen a champion lose like that where they look like shit before the fight even starts. I can't even remember the last time that I witnessed that. So from that point on in the locker room until he went home and started thinking about shit is when these things started coming about. It wasn't Deontay Wilder himself. Do you seriously think Deontay Wilder said, all right, let me sit here and figure out an excuse on why I lost the fight? Now, the costume was the first one. The costume was the first one, and the costume did come from Deontay Wilder. I will say that. I will admit that. Him saying the costume is what weared him down did come from Wilder, but all that is him trying to figure shit out. Because he didn't know. He didn't know why he felt like shit. He just assumed, oh, well, it must have been the costume because it did feel heavy, and maybe that's the reason. That's the only reason why the costume came out. It wasn't until later when people were bringing stuff to his attention. It's not him going and watching the review of the fight and be like, "Oh, that glove looks fucked up," or "Why is his knuckles appearing through the glove?" It's people bringing this shit to him and be like, "Yo, Deontay, man, check this shit out, bro." So you see, things start piling up, whether they're true or not. Things start piling up. And if you're in Deontay's position after taking a devastating loss like that, after you know you didn't feel right entering the fight, it's not difficult to be like, "Oh shit, maybe this motherfucker did cheat. I don't know shit," because I don't know why I felt as bad as I did. And then the spotlight was shown on Mark Breland. And he said in the interview with 78 Sports how Mark Breland was acting strange. Even since the first fight. After the first fight, he left. Mark Breland left. He didn't even enter the ring when Jack Reese raised both of their hands for the draw. He left. And see, Wilder took notice of that, and he's like, "All right, check. Check. I see you. Something's not right." Now, I think from that moment on, training for the second fight, Wilder and Breland were butting heads quite a lot. Because I feel like Wilder felt some kind of way on how Breland was acting after that first fight. And so it created tension. I think they were butting heads that entire fight camp, if you want my opinion. Now, I know Breland came out and said, "Oh, he's stubborn. He don't want to learn," all that shit. But who cares? Who cares why they were butting heads? Who cares whose fault it was? The fact of the matter is that they were butting heads. They were having issues. Then going to the second fight, Mark Breland throws in the towel. When Deontay Wilder guaranteed told this man to his fucking face, "I promise you he did. I don't care what happens. You don't ever throw in the towel." That is Deontay Wilder's prerogative as a fighter, as a modern day gladiator putting his life on the line. I've said it multiple times. Everybody in his circle, his loved ones who love him dearly, accept that fact. That my brother, my husband, my son, whoever it is a warrior. He might die in there. We accept that fact. We embrace that because this is who Deontay Wilder is. This isn't a discussion if Breland did the right thing or not. This is a discussion of a man's not only a man's wishes, but a man's order. As being Mark Breland's boss and saying, "I don't care what happens, don't throw in the towel." We can argue all day long on whether Breland made the right choice or not. But again, you got to put yourself in Deontay Wilder's shoes. The man throws in the towel, sitting down ringside when people are shouting from the crowd, "Throw in the towel, he's done, throw it in, throw in the towel." And he's sitting down and throws in the towel, sitting down. Doesn't come up to the ring until the point where Deontay Wilder is screaming at Mark, "Yo, why did you throw in the towel?" At forced Mark Breland to walk to ringside to the corner and be like, "Well, your ear's bleeding. Your ear's bleeding." So an accumulation of all these things when it comes to Mark Breland all plays a role from the first fight to the second fight, the towel being thrown in. Maybe it was the gloves. Maybe it was the costume. I don't know. I've never got any answers. I don't know what was wrong with me. And then he saw that Mark Breland was handling the water. So once again, he's like, "I think this guy spiked my water." He said in the interview with 78, he says, "I think he may have spiked my water." He didn't say, "Oh, I know for a fact because I caught him." He says, I think he may have spiked my water, because that would explain the weak legs, the weak body, feeling sick, whatever the case may be. And I'm not sitting up here saying that Mark Breland did it. I'm simply saying put yourself in Deontay's shoes. Simple as that. And Mark Breland, if I was Mark Breland, right? Because I've worked with fighters before in corners, in training camps. And if a fighter accused me for spiking water, first thing I would do is go straight to that fighter and say, hey, why are you saying this about me? That's fucked up. You don't got no evidence. Why like if you don't like me, if you don't want to work with me no more, fine, fire me. But don't do this. Don't put me under the bus like this. This is defamation of character. And if you don't come out in public and clear my name and let people know that, oh, I apologize. I was upset. I said this, but we decided to part ways. But as far as the spike water is concerned, that was my mistake. If you don't do that, right? If you don't go to the fighter first and complain, and if that fighter says, well, fuck you, I think you spiked my water. If I'm Mark Breland and a fighter did that to me after I confront them about it and they say, well, fuck you, I think you spiked it. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to take his ass to court. Defamation of character. Period. Did Mark Breland do that? No, he didn't. He went on an interview himself to give his side of the story, and all he did was say, oh, Wilder and I were button heads, this and that. I think he's a stubborn fighter. He doesn't want to listen. He doesn't want to learn. And when he was asked about the water, he says, oh, I don't even handle the water. I don't know why he would say that about me. I don't even handle the water. But he's clearly seen on video handling water. But if you're Mark Breland, you say, hell no, I didn't spike his water. As a matter of fact, I got a case against his ass for defamation because he's accusing me of something with no evidence. So I'll just leave it at that. For me, it's not even a matter of like Mark Breland did it, he didn't do it, the gloves are real, they're not real. For me, like I said, it doesn't matter. My question is, are these men are they going to fight or not? Because this is getting fucking ridiculous. But what I do know is that on October 9th, rather Fury was cheating or not, okay, he won't be able to cheat again. So no excuses. Like real talk, no excuses from Wilder. Okay, because you put things to light, you made people question Fury, whether it's true or not. But people are questioning Fury's character now. Now I agree about the whole COVID and putting the fight off and pulling this bullshit that he's been doing. I agree. But when it comes to the allegations, you put it to light, now people are questioning him. There's no way Fury's going to be able to get away with it if he was doing it. So October 9th is going to be fair game. There's no way Fury's going to be able to cheat because there's just too many eyes on Fury now. So, I mean, that's that. Hawker Mustang says, I wish Mark Breland. What's up, Hawker? Hey, you miss me, don't you? I know you miss me, Hawker. I wish Mark Breland just said, if he dies, he dies. Look, man, as ironic as that sounds, look, man, if somebody asked me a question, it's because I was arguing with somebody in real life, like straight up arguing. And he said, well, how would you feel if you're training a fighter and the fighter says, don't stop the fight no matter what, and then that fighter ends up dying? How would you feel? And I said, I'll feel like shit. I will feel like shit. But I do have something within me that's called a code of honor. It's no different if I'm on the battlefield in ancient Greek times, ancient Roman times, whatever it is, man, and I'm on the battlefield with somebody, and my buddy tells me like, look, man, no matter what happens, like I might die tonight. I'm gonna fight to death. If I survive, we can go back to the camp and have a glass of wine. If not, this is my destiny. It will hurt me to agree with that. And as much as I would want to save my best friend's life, and with the idea, well, maybe he'll thank me later. Well, no, actually, maybe he'll fucking hate me later. How about that? So then I have to then say, well, he hates me now, but at least I saved his life. But for me, it's just a code of honor, man, as a man. And I would want to be treated with that same respect. If I was in a situation where I feel like I have to do something, I might die. Hey, I love you, but you know, this is my destiny. Don't come in between me and my destiny. That's just how I operate personally. People don't have to agree with that. This is a very deep topic that we're getting into, a very controversial topic that we're getting into right now. But I have an ancient mind, man. How I look at life and how things operate, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And if you're faced with death, you know, it's one of those things, man. I don't know what to say about it, but how I approach life and how I look at it, and I'm for those of you who don't know, I'm ex-military, man. Okay, I'm ex-military. I battled PTSD, and I still do to this day. 14 years later. And so, with that being said, like I'm very strong on my convictions about that topic when it comes to Mark Breland throwing in the towel. Sorry, not sorry. My opinion, I think Mark Breland had a problem that he was the coach trainer and not the head trainer, and trusted JDs did not have the same experience. That's fine, Jalen. Like that's a fair assessment. Dalton Voss says Mark Breland saved his life. I don't know about that. Mika says definitely not the best we've seen. I respect Wilder, trains really hard, always believes he can win. He can get hurt and still finishes people. He might been surprised by Fury's plan and got rocked. He was definitely surprised, but he definitely was feeling like shit and looked like shit and was fighting like shit before the end of the first round. Tom, what's good, man? Good to see you back in the chat. Thanks for dropping by. See the chat blowing up a little bit, man. I kind of went on a little fucking rant. So sorry if I wasn't able to see y'all's comments. Omer, do you believe Wilder was drugged? I believe that Wilder thinks he was drugged. That's what I believe. My opinion don't matter, man. I want these two men to fight. I want this shit to be settled October 9th. Period, point blank. But I believe Wilder believes. Yes. Hey, Boogie, what's good, man? Thanks for the super chat. Not sure if you're subbed to the channel. If not, consider subscribing. But nonetheless, I appreciate the super chat. If you are subscribed, then I appreciate you even more, bro. Hey, Boogie says, at the end of the day, Fury has never looked like he looked that night. It was an anomaly of a performance. That's another way to look at it. That is another way to look at it. Despite the fact that Wilder's never looked like shit like that, Fury's never looked like that either. So the whole fight is an anomaly, basically. And that's why I tell people. It ain't going to be the same. The third fight is going to be totally different. I promise you. And I invite everybody to look at any boxing trilogy in history, and heavyweights in particular have a lot of trilogy fights. But even in the lower weight classes, right? Think about it this way. Let's think about Sugar Ray Robinson just for a moment for all you boxing heads out there. Sugar Ray Robinson, right? Shitload of trilogy fights. Notable names: Gene Fullmer, Jake LaMotta, Carmen Basilio. Those three names stand out. Every time, every single fight. And sometimes he fought some of those guys 4 or 5 times. None of those fights were exactly the same. Every fight is different. There's no way you can convince me, because I'm a fucking historian of the sport, that you're going to say, oh, it's going to be exactly like the second fight, just worse. No, it's not. It's not. Because Wilder's going to make adjustments. As simple as that. It seems like you don't want to accept the fact Fury adjusted and walked Wilder down, and that ruined his plans. No cheating necessary. No footwork or head movement will get you battered. Soul, like, Fury did what he had to do. I'm not saying that Fury won because Wilder tripped on his own feet and knocked himself out. Fury did what he had to do. It was a game plan. I agree with you. He did do a game plan that Wilder wasn't expecting. I agree with you. I'm simply saying, and if you and I disagree on this, then we can agree to disagree and we can move on, that Wilder didn't look the same. He didn't look healthy before the fight even started. That is my opinion. That is my educated and professional opinion as being a sports and conditioning coach, which is what I do for a living. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. If you don't agree with that and you believe it's purely and solely Fury's amazing performance and why Wilder looked like shit, then that is your opinion, and then we can agree to disagree, and that's that. The haters know there's enough evidence to suggest that Fury cheated. It had been the other way around, they would have been screaming murder. And to this point here, as much as I've always come out and said, like, yo, I don't get into the allegations and nothing like that. Well, I mean, I talk about it because people keep asking me. That's how much people care about it. Yo, Devine, what do you think about the gloves? Yo, Devine, what do you think about it? So I just, like, look, at the end of the day, it's Deontay Wilder. It's what Deontay Wilder sees. It's what he believes. It's what he's been told. And that's what he's got to deal with. But really, when the dust is settled, when all this shit is done, what's the end result that we're all looking for? October 9th, the 2-men fight, period. But to Jace's point here, if the tables were turned, I think we'll be having a completely different conversation. And if you don't agree with that, then I don't know what to say to you. If Deontay Wilder was the one who beat Fury up like that, and Fury came into the ring looking like shit, didn't look normal, and Fury said, I didn't feel normal, I think that someone may have spiked my water, or Deontay Wilder's gloves were all fucked up, people will be singing a different tune. People will be singing a different tune. I promise you that. Just going through the comments, guys. I've been ranting, so the comments are flying. I appreciate you. And FYI, you can now become a member of the channel. I got a lot of cool perks that if you do decide to become an official member and supporter of the channel, Not only do you get loyalty badges in the live chats and all that cool stuff, new emojis, which I created, by the way. I use faces of different fighters to express different emotions in the live chat. They're pretty hilarious, to be honest with you. And yes, Tyson Fury is one of the emojis, and so is Deontay Wilder. So that's just cool little perks. But on top of that, you can have access to a lot of exclusive videos that I will never upload here. And it's all up on my channel. Just click the join button and just read through it and see what you'll get if you decide to continue to support the channel. But I appreciate you guys regardless. Comments are just blowing up here, man. You guys are at it. A Boogie, what's good, man? And another super chat. Big respect to A Boogie here. Showing a lot of love to the channel. Every super chat goes a long way, man. As I always say to people, especially for those who are just joining in the live stream, that every super chat is stretched to the longest extent of me continuing to be motivated and spread the voice, spread the message, collaborate with other amazing channels out here, which I've already started to do, aka collaboration with Drew Titan. So keep that in mind, guys. Every time you guys send a super chat, it goes towards growing the message. A Boogie says, when has Fury ever walked through anyone? ? When has he ever shown that type of power? ? When has his punches ever had that type of an effect on any opponent? ? So, A Boogie, I would imagine the Fury fans' answer will be, well, because, he got a new trainer and he learned how to punch properly. And he was able to develop better punching technique. He figured out how to utilize his power in a new training camp with the new trainer, all that. So that's what I would suspect that Fury fans would say. Mika says he'd live to fight another day. I think here's the thing. I will say this. I think the referee, if the fight would have continued to go the way that it was, I know in Wilder's mind, he thought that he can still fight back and he always has a puncher's chance. It wasn't going well for him, obviously, because Fury was just mauling him and Wilder was clearly not himself, as I've stated 50,000 times. I think that the ref probably would have stopped it. And I think that if the ref stops the fight, it's something that Wilder can live with much more than having his trainer throw in the towel. And that's just my opinion. Omer was good, man. He asked, what round do you think Wilder is going to KO Fury? I would say around 8 or 9. Around 8 or 9, I think. It's going to take a little while to break Fury down. I think he knocks Fury down early, though. Maybe around 3 or 4. I think Fury gets up, fights on. He has a lot of pride. But eventually, I just think Wilder's just going to be too much. Platboy says, I wonder what Hawker Mustang's excuse for Fury never defending a title is. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Platboy, man. Platboy's been in this live stream for at least an hour. I respect you, Platboy, bro. Trust me, I do. All right, kind of catching up to the chats here, blowing up. So you actually have a problem with throwing the towel, in your professional opinion? Wilder was played up in the corner, and it was really looking bad. He was looking bad. But every conversation, I want to say this to you, Soul Rebel, is that every conversation is a little bit different between camps and fighters and trainers. Okay, you got to keep that in mind. Fighters that I've worked with, and usually I'm always a secondary assistant coach. I've never been a head coach, so I've never actually been that guy to make that decision. But what I can tell you is what the conversations are like, and every fighter's mentality is different. Some fighters are extremely humble and they give all the faith and decision making to their trainers, and they say, like, they may not say in these exact words, but essentially they'll say, like, if you feel like I'm in trouble or I'm not doing well, or if you feel like I'm taking too much damage, call the fight. It's fine. There are fighters out there like that. There are fighters who may not say those exact words, but it's their demeanor, it's their personality, and the trainer and the fighter have that relationship, and the trainer knows that the fighter will be okay with it, and the fighter knows that he'll be okay with it because they have that type of relationship. But there are other fighters out there who live and die by the sword. Like, you can't dispute that. There are fighters out there that live and die by the sword and make it explicitly clear that, like, no matter what, fight on. Like, if I don't feel like I can continue, I'll quit myself. I'll quit on the stool. The referee can stop it, but I don't want you to make that decision, because what you see, it may not be as bad as it looks. That type of shit. And I've been a part of those conversations before. And I've seen trainers. Okay, I want to throw this out there. I've seen coaches step out of a big fight because they don't want to be involved in that. I've been in conversations where fighters have said, like, look, man, this is a huge fight for me. Whatever happens, don't throw in the towel. Like, if I'm going to know if I'm done or not. And I've seen a coach, in one particular example that I can remember, said, well, I'm not cool with that, because if I see you taking damage and I feel like I need to stop the fight, that I want to have that authority, and I want you to respect that authority. And the fighter and the coach, they don't agree, and the coach will step out. So I've seen that. So you have to understand the dynamics of being a fighter and that type of stuff. And for me, maybe it's because one, it's my mentality. Two, I've been around fighters and conversations and camps, and not just boxing. Okay, I've worked with Muay Thai fighters to be as an assistant coach to improve their boxing skills, because a lot of times Muay Thai fighters are not the greatest with their boxing skills. And so it's no different than working with Muay Thai fighters. Combat sport is a combat sport. EK Experience, good morning. Good to see you, bro. We got a lot of night owls, man. If you guys are stateside, man, you guys are staying up late to listen to Divine Sense Boxing. I appreciate you. Good answer. You're a beast, Divine. I appreciate it, bro. Like, I understand that we more or less always disagree. But that's fine, man. You know how it goes. You know how it goes, man. We can have a conversation as men. It's 40 people here and only 26 likes. Everyone should like the post since you're being entertained. I appreciate that, man. Smash that like button, guys, man. It ain't that hard. Smash that shit. I'm going live now for over 2 hours. I mean, not really for myself. I'm doing it for you guys. I'm just trying to keep a conversation moving and keep it interesting. So it goes a long way to hit that like button, guys. What I will do to spice up the conversation a little bit, I'll go ahead and add a question in the poll. Since we've got a little bit off topic here, we're supposed to talk about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and the fact that fight's being pushed through and promoted, even though Fury hasn't got past Deontay Wilder yet. But sometimes this happens. It gets heated in the chat. So the question that I'll drop as a poll, which if you guys can vote in the poll, will be great, will be: does Wilder deserve to fight Joshua in his next fight if he beats Fury? So that's the question. And if you guys vote no on that, then I'm assuming you're okay with even if Fury loses, he should still fight Joshua regardless. So there's the poll. And you guys can vote on it and see what you guys say. But in the meantime, guys, continue to, like I said, smash that like button. A lot of night owls or early morning owls. It's good to see. Good to see. El Jefe says it's 12:54 in H-Town. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. You guys got some endurance, man. It looks like Andrew's having some fun in the chat. Andrew, did you click dislike on this video? Shit. I bet you Andrew clicked dislike too. How much you want to bet? Soul Boxing says, well, the hardcores know Wilder dug Joshua for 100 million. Is that fact or is that rumor? But I'll take it as fact. That's fine. To fight a irrelevant Tyson Fury, who was a great name. I don't know if he's irrelevant, and he just beat Klitschko. But also way out of shape and cherry picked, made into a martyr. That's fine. I mean, that's a fine argument there. But my question for you, Soul Rebel, would be, well, the fact is that they did fight, and even though Tyson was in fact out of shape and a drug addict and an alcoholic, despite what you may believe, whether he ducked Joshua or not, don't you think that Tyson Fury would give Wilder a bit more respect, considering that he was essentially in the gutter, out of shape, overweight, addicted to cocaine, and an alcoholic? Don't you think that Wilder should be treated with a little bit more respect? I don't know. Hawker says, will you shut down your channel, Tyson Fury, if Tyson Fury knocks out Deontay? Well, first off, Hawker, let's be honest here. You know I don't want to shut down my channel because you would miss Divine Sense Boxing. And that's why you're on here at fucking midnight over here talking shit. But will I shut down? No, I won't, because this is boxing. Anything can happen. If Tyson Fury comes out and beats Deontay Wilder, I will come on here as a man and say that I thought Deontay could make adjustments and he didn't, and he lost. I will eat crow. I will be a man and admit that I was wrong, and I keep it moving. But let's be honest, Hawker, you don't want me to delete my channel. Cut the bullshit. Forbidden Media, what's good, man? Good to see you back in the chat. When Wilder beats Fury, you're going to suddenly see White's name pop up all over the place again. Interesting statement. They're trying to sell this Joshua Fury fight for real. I got AJ in his next fight, but I think Usyk is going to give him some major problems with his quickness. It's going to be a tough fight for sure. It's going to be tough. He's got a good work rate. He's quick. Yeah, Joshua's going to have his work cut out, but Joshua should win. But if Joshua pulls it off and looks good, it's a nice statement win. If Wilder knocks out Fury, that's a statement win. So naturally, the talk should be Joshua Wilder in London. Yeah, exactly, Hawker. It's 1 a.m. and you're still in my fucking chat. So cut the bullshit. Usyk is looking a lot heavier. Don't know if that's good for him. Interesting point. Isaiah B, what's good, man? I'm not sure if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, consider subscribing. Stay a part of the conversation. If you are subscribed, well, I appreciate you even more, bro. I'm unbiased. I like Wilder and AJ. Tyson Fury plays too much fucking games when it comes to setting up a fight. It's quite agitating, bro. No doubt about it. Very, very agitating. And here we are. This is why. I mean, this fight could have been over by now. This fight could have been over by now. We could have been talking about, okay, well, Fury or Wilder wins. Okay, now let's see what happens with Joshua and Usyk. Who's going to fight them? I mean, that's the conversation that we should be having right now. But instead, we're still debating and going back and forth about Wilder and Fury. And whose fault is that? It ain't Wilder's fault. It ain't Wilder's fault that we're still talking about this. Wilder was ready for July 24th. He's been ready. So let's take a look at the poll here. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? So far, 80%. 80% of the people say that, yes, Deontay Wilder deserves to fight Joshua in his next fight if he beats Fury. 20% says, no, he shouldn't fight Joshua in his next fight. So if you voted no, as I pointed out earlier, that's you basically saying that it doesn't matter if Fury loses. Fury should fight Joshua regardless in his next fight. Interesting. Jose said, Jay said we would be talking about how bad Fury got KO'd. More than likely, I could be making some incredible live streams about Fury being knocked out. Jade says it's been 19 months. Well, too damn long is what it's been. Too damn long. Well, look, guys, a lot of you guys have been in the chat since I first came started. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Some of you guys may have just joined in. If you have just joined in, we've been talking about a lot of different things. The initial intent of the live stream was to talk about, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight is being basically promoted behind the scenes, even though Fury hasn't got past Wilder in the third fight yet. And of course, Joshua hasn't got past Usyk yet, but yet they continue to push the Fury and Joshua fight. Now, as we all know, they're trying to build it up for a big UK showdown, but Fury can't fight in the UK. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But for those who just joined, I'm going to go ahead and just browse through the article real quick because I don't think everybody was able to see it. I've had it sitting here on the screen. I haven't went over it yet. So let's go through it real quick. And as I pointed out earlier, for those who have been in the live stream for a while, we have to take note of the language that's used in these articles. And granted, this is from Sky Sports, which is always pro UK fighters. But this is my point. This is how they're basically ignoring the trilogy fight between Wilder and Fury and they're trying to just get people's minds off of that and focus on a fight that they sadly lost. We lost this big mega fight between Tyson and Joshua, and it's all Wilder's fault. So according to Bob Arum, both fighters owe the UK fans this tremendous event. See, check the language. Rather than taking it to a foreign country, says Tyson Fury's US-based promoter Bob Arum, on the dream fight against Anthony Joshua. See, language. Check the language. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury remains an easy fight to make for next year and could be rearranged to take place in the UK, says Bob Arum. Well, Bob Arum says a lot of things. Joshua will next defend his IBF, WBA, and WBO titles against Usyk, and of course, Fury has his rematch or trilogy fight with Deontay Wilder on October 9th. So they did mention it at least, but then they go on promoting what they wanted to promote. February is realistic. The final stage. This is what upsets me. They just say that Fury's got to beat Deontay Wilder, right? He just says it right here. And then the next paragraph, they say to finally stage the undisputed championship mega fight that dramatically fell apart. See, this is what I'm talking about. How is it an undisputed championship mega fight when Fury has yet to beat Wilder and Joshua has yet to beat Usyk? That's what I'm trying to explain to people. So it just goes on and on about Bob Arum said, my position is if Fury and Joshua win, screw any mandatories. Fury versus Joshua is the fight that people want to see, period. End of story. That is an easy fight to make. It's not hard. It's not a hard fight to make. We had the fight rolling. The central elements had been taken care of. There were no problems really on the deal. But unfortunately, the Grand Master, Tyson Fury, tried to snake his way out of a third fight, which he knew damn good and well was in the contract. So that has literally nothing to do with Deontay Wilder whatsoever. Blame your boy Tyson Fury for the fight falling through with Joshua. Like, why would you even go through the promotions and getting fight fans' hopes up, especially UK fans, and when knowing that you have a third fight guaranteed with Deontay Wilder? Like, why would you even do that? You thought that you can pay money to Deontay Wilder so he'll just be quiet and move on and accept the loss of the second fight, right? That's what you thought. But unfortunately for you, Deontay Wilder's like, nah. and no money ain't buying. Money is not buying me, bro. We gotta run it back. And so here we are. For Ben Media says, do you think Wilder versus Fury 3 will actually happen? A lot of people doubting the fight. Yeah, I've been seeing that as well. But yes, I do think it will happen. I think it'll happen. Fury's got no choice. Fury's literally got no choice. If he ducks October 9th, he's already been ordered by the judge from the arbitration that if he doesn't fight Wilder, then he has to retire. And if he retires, he has to vacate the titles. And if he vacates the titles, then the title's up for grabs and Wilder will fight somebody else for the vacant title, more than likely become the WBC champion without fighting Tyson Fury. And even if Tyson Fury's intentions or his plan is to retire and then come back, I mean, he's going to be labeled as a ducker. I mean, there's no other way to look at that because you vacate the title. Wilder beats somebody else, takes that title, and then you're going to try to come back and then what? Fight Joshua then? But you're still not going to be undisputed champion. Even if you beat Joshua, Deontay's over there with the WBC. Anyways, so like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make sense for him to duck the fight. I mean, he's got to take his chances and go in there, retain his title, and then fight Joshua to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to duck the fight, really. Man, this chat is sometimes very entertaining. Hoplo says Fury did look like that before in the Chisora rematch. Y'all must have forgot that fight. Yeah, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. By my boy Hoplo, he did come strong on that rematch. Dr. Hook says most people counting Usyk out. That might be fair if we knew which AJ was going to show up. The truth of the matter is we don't know. The truth of the matter is we don't, so we can't count Usyk out. We definitely can't count Usyk out. My question is, if Usyk beats Joshua, will he stay at heavyweight? More than likely, if Usyk beats Joshua, there's going to be a rematch, right? I mean, I would imagine there will be a rematch, just like he rematched Ruiz, which will push back the Tyson Fury fight anyway, if Tyson Fury gets past Wilder. Tim says Fury's running scared, tested COVID negative recently, paid millions to lawyers to duck the trilogy UK duck game. Shit, well, you heard it from Tim. Wilder looked not as good before the second fight happened, but all fighters have an off night. Doesn't mean any cheating happened or not. I mean, leave the cheating and all that for the people to discuss, Hoplo. At the end of the day, the two men are going to fight on October 9th, and the score will be settled. Simple as that. Vic Mason says, wouldn't everyone rather see Wilder versus Fury than Fury versus AJ? Let's not forget Fury's most interesting / entertaining fights have been versus Wilder. I'm with you on that. I would much rather see Wilder AJ. It's a battle of the athletes right there. The two athletes going at it. Would definitely like to see that compared to Fury and Joshua. And that's the thing, right? Styles make fights. And if Fury and Joshua do fight, I think Fury wins that fight. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people call me a Fury hater and all this shit, but whatever. I see Fury beating Joshua if they do fight. Styles make fights. But I feel like a Wilder and Joshua fight will be very entertaining. All right, guys. So I think I'm winding down towards the end here. Been going on for about 2.5 hours. It's been a fantastic live stream tonight, or now we're in early morning for most of you. But yeah, it's been great. Chat has been great. I appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate all the likes. Before I end this broadcast, make sure you hit that like button. It goes a long way. Continues, as I always say, continues to grow the message, grow the voice, and we continue to operate as a close knit, strong system of boxing fans. So continue to smash that like button. But this video will be uploaded afterwards. So if you came in a little bit later and didn't hear all the live stream, it'll be uploaded later. And of course, you can plug it in and listen maybe while you're driving to work, or you're getting dinner ready, or you're just chilling. However else you guys like to listen, it'll be up and you guys can catch up. And if you guys haven't seen my Spence and Pacquiao breakdown that I just released earlier today, make sure you jump over there, give it a quick watch, give it a quick like. I like to sometimes jump on cam and give a stylistically viewpointed opinion on how I feel fights will happen. And yeah, I like to do things a little bit different, man, instead of just talking on the mic all the time. So go and check it out. I'll go ahead and actually share that with you guys just real quick before I head off. And the chat is pretty much, yeah, the poll is most people, 85% say they feel that Wilder deserves to fight with Joshua if Wilder beats Fury. All right, guys. So if you guys haven't, as I said, if you haven't seen my most recent video, just jump over to my channel. That is if I... Okay, it's up. All right, cool. So it's just right here, guys. Obviously, I'm live on this one. And it's just right here. Fight breakdown, Manny Pacquiao, Earl Spence. And I offer an actual visual opinion on how I think the fight will go down. So make sure you jump on that video and click like on it, guys. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's late for you guys, so get some sleep. We'll be back on here again soon. Stay safe, stay strong. Peace and positive energy all the time. All right, guys. I'm out.